Ah, nice. Okay, super cool. Also, okay. Let's see if this works. I'm not sure. It looks like super good. Oh yes, it is. Perfect. Welcome to the first live stream on this new automation channel. I was asked if I could quickly make a very short video about how to connect n8n to Mautic and then find within n8n if a Mautic user already exists or if a Mautic contact already exists. And this is what, or if a Mautic contact already exists. And this is what we're doing now. So let's get on it and let's get started. So the thing, I will just turn off YouTube here. The thing we are going to build is basically this. This is a simple workflow in n8n. So we are pulling some data from WooCommerce or from wherever. You can pull the data through a webhook or whatever trigger you want to use. So you need your data set, and from there you are going to make a query to find if a contact already exists. And if yes, we'll make a short function to write a number and then merge it with the original data and then say, okay, is this number existing? What we would write if the user was not found. And if the number is not existing, we would update the contact, and if the number is existing, we would create a new contact. So let's get into it. The one thing you need is obviously something where you gather data from. So in this case, I'm using WooCommerce. And then, of course, you need a Mautic. So let's do here the dashboard. You need a Mautic where to put the data to, so into, and where to feed the data. And that's basically it. So let's get started. So let's go here and I will create a new workflow in my n8n, and within here let's click on new and make a WooCommerce call. So I will take WooCommerce, yes, WooCommerce n8n worker hardmode. This is connected to our own shopping, to our own WooCommerce store, and there we want to find a customer. No, we want to find an order, and then we want to get all orders, but of course we don't want to return all orders, we only want to return one, which would be the last one in this case. So, okay, that's the first thing. So we can execute this, and here we have our last order. So this is nice. So we can work with this data now, and then we would create a Mautic function. So let's put in Mautic and let's take the credentials. So we have OAuth2, and here we would have this, and then the contact resource is contact, and the operation is update. No, is get. So get the data of a contact, and we don't know if the data exists, so we need to find the contact ID actually. And let's see if I'm doing this right here. So we say get all. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So let's get back here. And we say get all. Of course, we only want to have one. And the funny thing here is we now can add an option which, for what we're looking for in Mautic. So we go to add option and say search. So we are searching for something now, and as we all know, obviously, hopefully, if not, then you know it in a second, in Mautic, the email address of a contact is a unique identifier. So it's actually not possible to have 2 times the same email address because it's actually the same contact. If you would have like 2 email address or the same email address 2 times with different IDs, that's called a duplicate. You can deduplicate in Mautic. There is a cron job to do that and to merge the data. So usually it shouldn't be possible. There are some bugs, especially in older versions. So I recommend update to 4.x, 4.11 is at the moment, to avoid duplicates. So, okay, within here we are searching for the email address which we got from WooCommerce. So let's get in here, WooCommerce, output data, JSON, and find the email address of the customer. So scroll down somewhere and try to find it. So we would have this here, then we can say, okay, billing items. In here we would have an email address. So we can take this one. Okay, so that's the one thing. So we call this find contact. So nice. Okay, so we have this one, which would only give us obviously a data set if it doesn't return an error. So if it can find the contact which we pulled from WooCommerce, then it would return the contact. If not, it won't return anything. So therefore, we are writing a short function. I will just copy it because it's easier for me. And the function is here. I'll explain it in a second. So let's create a function here. Here we have the function object and delete that. Whoop. And in here, you write items 0. So it goes through all the items, then JSON, because it's a JSON object which is coming in, and ID. So it tries to find the ID. And if it finds it, it would give back the ID. And 2 pipes means if not. If it's not finding the ID, it outputs -1 and then return items. So it will do that. So write this down. You can write it from here. And this is basically the thing. So find the contact and then the function. So it would give us the ID if it finds the contact, and if not, it would give us -1. So that's the one thing. And then we would set, there we say keep only set, and then we would put in a string. And what did I call this? Let's take a look. User found, yes. So we say user found, and then, oh, no. Wait a moment. Let's get back. That was bad. Let's switch workflows. Don't save. Open it again. Workflow 8. Yes. Okay. Set and value. Yes. We're looking for the ID inside the function. So we're looking for the ID here and set it as a value to work with. So we just say user found and add the expression here, which is node function. So we are trying to, or we are taking from the function node the ID. We also can do this here and say nodes function parameters. We didn't run it before, so we must run it before. Simplest way to build this would be to run it, get the data, and then you can build from there. So nodes function output data JSON and ID. There we go. That's exactly what we're getting back. So that's the thing. The ID has either the ID as I told you before, or -1. So that's the one thing. And the other thing which we need to do is we need to merge the data. So we're going back and say merge and find that. And then we just say, okay, merge by index and inner join. It's nice. So let's put this here and let's put everything together. So this puts everything together, which means we get the user data from the original user or from the original pool. So we get the data from WooCommerce, and we also get the ID or -1, these two possibilities. So now we can run an if node. If is here, and there we could say, okay, string, and there we can say ID. So we'll find the ID again. How do you do this here? Yes, we're looking for the user found in merge. So let's get back here. Nodes, merge, parameters. It's not here. We need to run it before. So let's get in here, execute. Now it merges everything and gives us this, which is nice. So we have here the user found, which would be either the ID or -1, correct? So we are looking for, is this correct? No, it's not correct actually. Oh yes, yeah, okay. So in here, we're looking for exactly that. So let's get in here, nodes, merge, output JSON, and find the user found object. User found, here. This one, da-da-da, nice. Okay, this gives us, at the moment, it gives us an ID. So we can just say regex and -1, which is nice. And therefore, when it runs, it would tell us true or false. So let's run it. And then we see here, true. It's true at the moment, because we got an ID. So what we're doing now is, if it's true, we say create a new contact. And if it, oh, what? Regex -1, yes. What do we get here? Let's do it. Yes, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I was just confused. Okay, so now we have true or false as an output. So if it outputs true, we know, okay, this user is not existing because it gives us -1, and therefore we would create a new contact. So Mautic and credentials, auth, email, contact, create. And there we have our JSON parameters, and inside the parameters, you can fill it however you want to fill it. And I would just create a body because it's the fastest way to do something. So email, and in here we would put in the stuff from WooCommerce, the output data, links, billing, here we go, email address, nice, that's the one thing. So yeah, and then I can obviously put in different other things like first name. This one is always the alias from, or the custom field alias in Mautic. So that's nice. So first name, and there we have, oh my god, this computer is so loud. Why is it so loud? I don't know why. It's actually not streaming by the computer, so it's funny. Anyway, first name, and then we go like here and take this, copy, put it in here, change this to first name because it's a coincidence that the first name in Mautic and in WooCommerce is the same. But actually it's not. Why not? That's interesting. Okay, so we would pull all, or we would give all the fields we want to write inside of Mautic to Mautic from our data set here. So what do we have here? Nothing interesting. Billing. It's called first underline name. That's interesting. And last name. And there we go with, here we need to make a comma after every piece of data. And within here we would just say last name, and then we could say what do we not have here actually to prove that this is literally working. We have the phone, we have everything actually, because obviously we have that already in place. Postcode state, blah blah blah, whatever, line items, metadata. We can have, now let's make some tags. And there we can put in something funny like the product, a transaction ID. No, not transaction ID. Yeah, let's put in the transaction ID just for the sake of showing how it works and that it works. So we have this one, and we can copy that because we're going to do the same thing when we update the contact. So this one would build the new contact. So we say create contact. Let's put this together. Okay, nice. And then I will duplicate contact resource and update. And then we need to find the contact ID, which is important. So we're going in here, add expression, and in the contact ID, we are looking for, obviously, the Mautic contact ID. So I want to go as far to the beginning as possible. Obviously here it's not possible, but here we can use the find contact. And from this node, we're pulling the contact ID into here, because it's the first point where we gathered the contact ID. So I'm going in here and go to contact ID and say within nodes, I want to have at find contact JSON. I want to get the ID. Nice. This one. It's great. That's my contact ID. And now it doesn't send anything, but we want to send JSON parameters, and we add a body. And within the body, we add our expression, which would be this, and the tag is blah blah transaction number. And this is nice. And then we're going to save and execute the workflow. Rambazamba, something didn't work, which is bad. What didn't work? Invalid JSON, that's interesting. Comma, 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 no comma. Yes, of course. We need to create an object from that. So curly brackets around it, what's important, and execute again. Obviously, we need to do the curly brackets in here as well. So for the sake of completion, I will do this here as well. That's very important. Only within the curly brackets we can have a JSON object. So it holds the object basically. So, okay, that's it. Nice. It was sending the data to Mautic. It found the contact, then it sent the data to Mautic. So, and to prove, I will load this again, and here we have a new tag, which is the transaction number from the last transaction. So that's how you build this finding algorithm in n8n. I hope it helps, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we see you in